Today, we're going to do something a little bit different, and I have a feeling it's going to become a favorite of yours and mine. And what are we doing today? Well, we're going to answer your questions rapid fire. See, my team and friends and colleagues here are like, knock, 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 Mel Robbins. Do you know how many questions have been backed up in the inbox? Like, we need to take out a storage unit to store all of the questions that people have, from deep, serious, light, funny, personal, too much information. So here's how we're going to do this. My friend and colleague, who you've heard on this podcast, give it up for Amy McGlynn.
Hi, everybody.
Woo! Okay, Amy has some of the, 900 pages of questions that you guys have submitted, and they range from advice to curiosities about me. I have no idea what she's going to ask me.
Yeah.
What are we going to call this type of episode?
A little bit of everything.
A little bit of everything with Mel Robbins. And your burning questions answered, maybe. Yeah. Right. I don't know. Something.
Exactly.
Okay.
You want to jump right in?
We're going to jump right in. Anything goes. Yeah. Everything's on the table.
There you go. All right.
Okay.
First question. Jeannie wants to know, Mel, when do I know when it's time to walk away from a friendship?
When you're giving more than you're getting. And I want to unpack this a little bit. Here's the thing. Friendships are a give and take. And I think it's very important when you have a friendship that if your friend is going through a hard time, that you are there for your friend, that you understand that they are not capable of pouring back into you the way that you may need them to. And part of friendship is showing up in hard times. And so when I say that you know when a friendship is no longer worth it, when it's been a sustained feeling of you not getting back what you're putting in. It's no longer that somebody is going through postpartum depression, or they're going through a divorce or a breakup, or they're recovering from an illness, and your role in the friendship in this moment is to be the strong one, to be the one checking in. It's a situation where it's just sustained. You're the one always making the effort. Mm-hmm. You're the one that is always asking about them. You're the one that is always making the plans. You're the one that is always reaching out, and you are not seeing that reciprocated. And the thing about friendship that we don't think about is not everybody's supposed to be in your life forever. And I don't know where we all got this idea that you have to be lifelong friends with everybody. You're not going to be, because friendship is about energy exchange. It's about a vibe. It's about you and this person being in a place in your lives where you are able to kind of bring out the best in one another. You're able to support one another. You can laugh together. And sometimes those friendships are because of circumstance. It's because of where you live or where you work or who your kids are friends with or who your partner is friends with. And that's how you came to be. And I talked about this with my daughter a lot, about a relationship that ended, that sometimes your friendships or your relationships make a lot of sense when you share a container of college or a job or being of a certain relationship status or living in a certain place. And what you'll find in life is when the container disappears, oftentimes the binds that kept you in the friendship disappear as well. And that's normal. And it means you are meant to pour your energy into other friendships. And so you will know when a friendship is no longer worth investing in, because you have been feeling this way for a while and you have checked in with said person, and there is not something devastating or difficult going on with them such that they need your support. And here's the other thing. If you have a friend that's been down for a long ass time and you have been their support system, and over the course of the years, you're not getting anything back or very little back, it's okay to pull back. It's okay to spend less energy. You're not abandoning them entirely, but nobody said that your life had to be about pouring into other people and expecting nothing in return. You get to spend your time and energy on relationships that lift you up, that fulfill you. And there's nothing selfish about it. In fact, I think it is, it's life sustaining when you do that.
Absolutely. So you said you could pull back. What does that look like? Like you don't answer their calls or their texts, or what do you think that looks like for Jeannie?
I think that could look like only reaching out once every 2 weeks instead of once a week.
Mm-hmm.
It means not answering their texts the moment that they text you. It means not feeling obligated to invite them to the party that they're throwing. Mm-hmm. Like stop and think about, well, what are you getting in return for your effort? Because there is a reciprocal nature to friendships. Friendships are not one way. And what you often find in a relationship is when you stop putting in the effort, the relationship completely disappears. And what you come to realize is, holy shit, this actually wasn't a friendship. This was me chasing something. And this was me thinking that the relationship was something more than what this person thought it was. And the same is true in romantic relationships, that a lot of times when you let the person reveal who they really are, you stop chasing them, you realize, oh, I was just in a relationship with the possibility and the potential of who this person and what this could be. And the second I stopped living in a fantasy and I started pulling back the chase and I just started seeing how this person showed up, I realized, oh shit, like I've been in a fantasy land in this relationship for a long time, pretending that it was something else. And that's a painful moment, but I'd rather you do that on your own than have somebody rip out the rug from underneath you because you were too scared or too stupid or too blind by your own fantasy or chasing or insecurity that you didn't wake up and drop the reins and realize you're the one putting in all the effort.
Right. Makes a lot of sense.
And here's the other thing. Everybody's busy. Like I also feel like I've got 100 people or more that I think are really awesome that I never see, that I don't have time to text. And guess what? They don't have time to text me either. And I feel like life has gotten so busy and people move a lot in modern life. Mm-hmm. It's not like it was when our parents or grandparents were around where everybody stayed in the same state or county. And so I also think you got to upgrade your definition of friendship in general to not have to mean that you have to be in constant contact with people. Some of my favorite people in the entire fucking world live the furthest away from me. I almost never see them. We don't text back and forth. We did not raise our kids together. And yet, if they needed me, I would be on a plane. Every time they call or they text once a year, whatever, I smile. And so also don't grip this friendship thing so tight because I think you have a lot more friends than you realize. You may not be spending time with them. And instead, you're pouring energy into people who are not giving it back to you. And that's when you got to pull in the let them theory. Just like stop chasing everybody. Stop pouring into things that don't give you energy back. And then when you stop doing it and you let the other person show up or not, now you know what you're dealing with.
Awesome. Love that. Upgrade your friendship expectations. From Natasha. And I'm not going to say anybody's last name because we're all on a first name basis here,
exactly.
Right? Okay, from Natasha. And she says, Mel, how do I make decisions without all of the overthinking that goes along with it?
I'm going to give you a simple tool.
Great.
Use objectification and literally take somebody that you respect and ask yourself, what would so-and-so do?
Love that.
That's it. That's it. And here's what you're going to notice. If you were to say, well, what would Mel Robbins do? You can borrow confidence. You can borrow decisiveness from other people. You know, I am a very decisive person. If you feel a little like, ooh, if you know what I would do, here's the way I want you to think about that. That, ooh.
Like insecurity, like,
yes,
I don't want to do that.
That's just fear. That's just fear.
Makes sense.
Because you're picking a person that you respect, or you're picking a person who has what you want. And so when you ask yourself, what would so-and-so do? What would The Rock do in this situation? What would my mentor do in this situation? If you get a little bristle when you get the answer, that's just your fear. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Boom, go.
I love that. So pick your person.
Yep.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Boom.
Boom, go. And then all the overthinking, Natasha, out the window. All right, Neely says, how do you negotiate a salary as a woman with a male boss?
Oh, you prove what you want. So most of us do not do our homework. And the homework that you're doing is typically the wrong homework. So typically what people do when they go in to negotiate some sort of salary increase is that you do a comparison of the job title in the area that you live. But that's not necessarily relevant to your employer. What's more relevant to your employer is you proving to your employer the amount of things and the contribution that you're making specifically to the bottom line and to the things that matter. Because if you can walk in armed with all the things that you're doing that impact the bottom line, with the problems that you've solved, what you've actually shown me is that you're invaluable. And what somebody else is paying somebody else with your title at another company is completely irrelevant to me as your boss. Because a lot of bosses feel not conflicted, but almost like, okay, if you want to go make that, go work there. Show me that you've earned that. And if you really start to pay attention and keep track of all the contributions you're making and the problems that you're solving and how that impacts the bottom line, now you're proving value. And you might be even worth more than what that salary analysis shows you.
Nice.
Knock, 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 Mel Robbins. Today we're going to do something a little bit different, and I have a feeling it's going to become a favorite of yours and mine. We're going to answer your questions rapid fire. Do you know how many questions have been backed up in the inbox?